There's a fundamental mistake that most men make when they try to connect with a woman they are genuinely drawn to. They stay trapped in a cycle of safe conversations, topics that have been rehearsed so many times they've lost all emotional weight. Think about the daily experience of a high-value woman. She is constantly looked at. She is constantly complimented on her appearance, and she is constantly asked the same 5 questions about her job, her hometown, or her weekend plans. To her, this isn't a conversation. It's a script she has to perform. It's exhausting, and more importantly, it makes you entirely forgettable. You are currently standing at the bottleneck entrance of a vast psychological maze, stuck in the generic opener dead end with every other man she's met this month. The truth is that attraction isn't built on how much money you display or how many accomplishments you rattle off in a desperate attempt to prove your worth. It's not even about being the funniest or most charming person in the room. Real lasting pull is created when you make a woman feel genuinely seen, rather than simply observed. Most men look at the surface and comment on what they see. The authoritative man looks past the surface and asks about what is hidden. When you lead with the same boring inquiries, her brain goes into autopilot mode. She gives you a polished, scripted response because you haven't given her a reason to offer anything deeper. You are just more noise in an already loud world. What separates the men who capture a woman's interest from the men who are merely politely tolerated is a specific kind of psychological courage. It's the willingness to step outside the predictable loop and invite her actual essence forward. Attraction is built through creating a space where she feels safe to reveal herself, not through an impressive monologue about your own life. If you want to occupy her mind, you have to disrupt her pattern recognition. You have to be the one who bypasses the scripted responses she gives to 90% of the people she meets. You have to be the exception to the rule of boring surface-level small talk that has defined her day. In this breakdown, I am giving you the 6 psychological keys that unlock genuine female attention and ignite real curiosity. These aren't tricks or hacks. They are doorways into her internal world. We are moving away from the invisible man trap and into the high-stakes territory of deep personality psychology. By the end of this video, you will understand how to use these 6 questions to navigate the labyrinth of her mind and reach the center where true connection lives. If you are ready to stop being a background character in her life story and start being the man she actually remembers, then stay with me. This is where we move past the surface and into the deep. To understand why these questions work, you have to understand the pattern interrupt. The human brain is designed to conserve energy by automating repetitive tasks. When a woman hears a generic question, her subconscious mind handles the answer, while her conscious mind remains disengaged. She isn't thinking about you. She's just waiting for the interaction to end. To create attraction, you must force her conscious mind to wake up. You do this by asking something she wasn't expecting. Something that requires her to pause, breathe, and actually look inward. That brief pause, that moment of genuine processing, is exactly where the spark of intrigue is born. When you disrupt her autopilot, you aren't just starting a conversation. You are creating an emotional experience. You are signaling that you are a man of genuine intention and psychological awareness. This is what opens the exception path in the stone maze of her mind. Most men are terrified of this depth. They are afraid that if they go too deep, they will make things weird or awkward. So they stay in the shallow water where it's safe, but also where it's boring. The magnetic man knows that the only way to earn authentic respect is to demonstrate that he is capable of handling a deeper reality. He doesn't fear the silence that follows a powerful question. He welcomes it. Attraction operates on 2 levels simultaneously, the physical and the psychological. While the physical gets the initial attention, the psychological is what creates the lasting pull that keeps her thinking about you at 2 a.m. A woman becomes genuinely drawn to a man when she feels emotionally safe to express herself freely. She becomes curious about who you are because you have demonstrated a depth that most men simply don't possess. You are no longer just a face or a name. You are a facilitator of her own self-understanding. You are the rare individual who chose to see the labyrinth of her mind as something worth exploring, rather than something to be feared. This is the power of the psychological mirror. When you ask the right questions, you aren't just gathering information. You are reflecting her own complexity back to her. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel understood at a core level. By using these 6 questions, you are guiding her through a psychological unfolding of her truest self. You are showing her that you aren't just interested in what she does, but in who she is becoming. As we move into the first question, remember that your delivery, your masculine stillness, is just as important as the words themselves. You must be grounded, present, and ready for the depth that is about to be revealed. The first question is a direct pathway into her personal growth. What is something you believed strongly 5 years ago that you don't believe now? This question is a massive pattern interrupt because it bypasses the present moment and asks her to reflect on her own evolution. Most men ask about her current beliefs, which are often just a social mask she wears to fit in. By asking about how those beliefs have changed, you are acknowledging that she is a dynamic, growing human being. You are signaling that you want to understand the forces that have shaped her into the woman standing in front of you today. When she answers this, she has to look back at her own history. She might talk about a relationship that ended, a career shift that changed her perspective, or a personal betrayal that forced her to grow a thicker skin. Whatever she shares, she is giving you a map of her psychological development. She is revealing her autopilot gear and showing you how it was constructed. This creates an immediate sense of intimacy because you are discussing the internal shifts that most people never bother to ask about. You are moving from the surface level of what she believes to the much more profound level of how she has changed. Pay close attention to her reaction when you ask this. You will often see a slight smile or a pause as she realizes she's never been asked this before. That, nobody's ever asked me that moment is your indicator that you've successfully disrupted her pattern. As she explains her shift in belief, don't interrupt with your own story. Let her speak. Let the silence exist. This is where your masculine stillness comes into play. By holding the space while she reflects on her past, you are demonstrating that you are a grounded presence who can handle her complexity. You are becoming a rare sanctuary for her honest self-reflection. This question works because it honors her journey. It shows that you aren't just interested in the finished product sitting across from you, but in the process of her becoming. Women are deeply drawn to men who can reflect their own depth back to them. When you ask about her evolution, you are validating her struggle and her growth. You are planting a seed of intrigue in her subconscious because she now associates you with a higher level of conversation. You aren't just another guy trying to get her attention. You are a man who actually deserves it because you are the only one who bothered to look at the chiseled stone walls of her history. The second question reaches past her logical mind and into her emotional world. When do you feel most fully yourself? This is what I call a soul question. Most of the time, people are performing. They are being the employee, the daughter, or the friend. They are wearing a version of themselves that society expects. By asking her when she feels most like herself, you are asking her to identify the moments when her social mask falls away and she feels truly free. This question is a bridge over the nonsense chatter void that defines most dating interactions. It takes you straight to the core of her identity. Her answer might surprise you. It might be something as simple as walking my dog at sunrise or as complex as being completely absorbed in a creative project. Whatever the answer is, she is showing you where her soul breathes freely. She is revealing her emotional anchor. Once she shares this with you, she begins to unconsciously associate you with that feeling of authentic freedom and aliveness. This is how organic attraction develops, not through manufactured charm, but through shared emotional territory. You are discovering the curiosity bridge that leads directly to her most authentic state of being. The key to this question is your own presence. You aren't asking to strategically move the conversation. You are asking because you are genuinely curious about what moves her. When a man guides a woman into this kind of honest self-reflection, she doesn't forget him easily. She will remember the conversation because it made her feel something real. It made her realize that she has a part of herself that is rarely seen, and you were the one who invited it forward. You are no longer a predictable move in her mind. You are the one who opened the door she usually keeps locked. As she speaks about her authentic self, watch her body language. Her eyes will often brighten and her posture will soften. This is the subconscious key turning. She is lowering her guard because she feels emotionally safe in your presence. By acknowledging her true self, you are providing a level of validation that most men are too busy to offer. You are proving that you value her internal world over her external presentation. This creates a psychological bond that surface-level compliments can never match. You are navigating the deeper layers of the labyrinth brain, moving toward the center where her true desires live. Question 3 is the permission question. If nothing was stopping you, no fear, no money, no judgment, what would you be doing right now? Every woman carries a secret self that contains her suppressed dreams and unvoiced ambitions. Throughout her life, she has likely been told to be practical, to be safe, and to minimize her desires to fit into the expectations of others. When you ask this question, you are handing her a blank canvas and saying, show me the version of yourself that the world rarely sees. So, you are giving her permission to dream out loud without fear of skepticism or judgment. This question is incredibly powerful because it creates a sense of liberation. When she talks about her hidden aspirations, she is stepping out of the social mask and into a world of pure potential. You are becoming a safe sanctuary for her most vulnerable thoughts. Most men are too focused on her current reality to care about her potential reality. They ask about her job, which anchors her in her daily stress. You are asking about her dreams, which anchors her in her joy. This shift in focus is what makes you the exception in the maze of her daily interactions. As she reveals her hidden dreams, she will experience a release of dopamine and a sense of emotional freedom. She will begin to associate you with that feeling of unbound potential. This is one of the most powerful psychological triggers for attraction. When a woman feels that she can express her truest ambitions to you without being minimized, she will find herself wanting to return to your presence just to feel that sense of permission again. You aren't just a man she's talking to. You are a catalyst for her own sense of possibility. You are lighting up the hidden dreams canvas with green light. Remember to maintain your masculine stillness as she reveals these dreams. Don't try to fix her life or offer practical advice on how she can achieve them unless she explicitly asks. Just listen. Let her describe the colors, the feelings, and the details of the life she truly wants. By simply holding the space for her dreams, you are demonstrating a rare kind of strength. You are showing that you are a man who isn't intimidated by her ambition, but rather one who is capable of witnessing it. This creates a deep psychological anchor where her truest desires and her attraction to you become permanently linked. The fourth question is bold, direct, and requires a high level of confidence to ask. What kind of connection do you think you actually deserve? This is a worth question. It bypasses small talk and goes straight into the value mirror. You aren't just asking about romance or relationships, you are asking about her sense of self-worth. You are asking whether she believes she is worthy of the depth of connection she actually wants. This question is a pattern disruptor because it forces her to confront her own standards and the way she has settled in the past. When you ask this, maintain steady, calm eye contact. Don't look away or fumble with your hands. This is a moment of high tension, and your masculine stillness is what makes it work. She might pause for a long time. She might even say, I don't know. That's fine. Let her sit with the reflection. By asking this, you are signaling that you are a man who understands the value of deep connection. You are demonstrating that you aren't just looking for access to her time or her body, but that you are interested in the quality of her emotional world. You are standing before the massive stone mirror of her soul. Women are constantly approached by men who want something from them. When you ask what she thinks she deserves, you are positioning yourself as a man who wants something for her. This shift in intent is massive. It changes the dynamic from a performance to an investigation. You are looking at her internal standards and deciding if she is someone who values herself. This earns you a level of respect that most men never reach because most men are too afraid to ask the real questions. They stay in the generic opener dead end because they fear the answer might be too much for them. Her response will tell you everything you need to know about her psychological health. If she struggles to answer, it shows her past experiences have shaped her expectations to be lower than they should be. If she answers with conviction, she is a woman who knows her value. Either way, by facilitating this moment of self-reflection, you become woven into her process of self-understanding. You are no longer just another face in her phone. You are the exception who made her pause and think about what she truly wants from life. You are navigating the deepest, most chiseled layers of the stone labyrinth. Question 5 is a direct invitation into her vulnerability. What is something you wish people understood about you that they usually don't? This is the misunderstood layer. Every woman, regardless of how confident or put together she appears externally, feels fundamentally misunderstood in some significant way. She has a part of her personality that people misinterpret or a side of her character that people ignore. This question gives her the key to reveal that invisible layer. It gives her permission to stop being the version of herself that everyone else sees and start being the version she actually is. She might say something like, "People think I'm cold, but I'm actually just protective." Or, "Everyone thinks I have it all together, but I'm struggling more than it looks." In so Sarah, whatever she reveals, she is sharing a private truth. She is showing you a dimension of herself that she usually keeps hidden behind her social mask. Because you asked and because you created the emotional portal for this revelation, you become the person she associates with emotional safety. You are the rare man who bothered to ask about the parts of her that are invisible to everyone else. This is where connection moves from interesting to genuinely intimate. When a woman feels that a man can see her accurately, it creates an intense psychological bond. It disrupts her pattern recognition in the best possible way. She has been conditioned to expect men to only care about her external presentation. When you demonstrate interest in her internal reality, you become a high-value anomaly. You are reflecting her inner strength in glowing green light. You are proving that you are a man of genuine intention and presence, capable of witnessing the complexity of her soul. This question works because it resolves a core human need, the need to be understood. When you facilitate this revelation, you are no longer just talking to her. You are resonating with her. You are becoming a mirror that reflects a deeper, more accurate version of herself than the one she shows to the rest of the world. This creates a mirroring effect where she will subconsciously begin to mirror your level of investment and depth. You are reaching the center of the labyrinth brain, navigating through the shadowed charcoal walls to find the glowing core of her true identity. The final question is philosophical, abstract, and incredibly revealing. What does freedom mean to you specifically? Most men never think to ask this because they think it's too deep or too serious, but that is exactly why it carries so much power. Everyone uses the word freedom, but its meaning varies dramatically from person to person. For some, it means financial independence. For others, it means the emotional space to be themselves without judgment. For some, it means escaping the expectations of their family or society. By asking her to define freedom, you are discovering what truly motivates her at her core. In her answer, you will discover what she is actually moving toward in life. You will see what she is trying to protect, what she is trying to achieve, and what she is afraid of losing. This question is a soul map. It reveals the internal compass that guides her decisions. When you understand a woman's definition of freedom, you understand her entire psychological framework. You are no longer guessing what she wants. You are seeing the internal world that drives her. You are finding the oasis sanctuary deep in the center of the brain-shaped labyrinth. This question works best in quieter, more reflective moments. It's not something you ask in a loud, crowded club. It's something you ask when you have already established a level of emotional safety. When she answers, you will have insight into her that most people in her life don't possess. You are now woven into her process of self-understanding. You aren't just another guy she met. You are the man who made her think about the very meaning of her life. You are the grounded presence who chose to explore the deep stone corridors of her mind. By asking about her freedom, you are signaling that you are a man who values independence and autonomy. This is a high-value trait. It shows that you aren't a man who wants to possess or control her, but a man who wants to understand and support her. This creates a sense of emotional freedom in your presence. She will find herself wanting to be around you because you are the only person who makes her feel like she can be her truest self. You have successfully navigated the entire memory labyrinth, reaching the final glowing thought bubble where attraction becomes obsession. Now, we need to take a moment and talk about where this gets serious. The 6 questions I have given you are powerful psychological doorways. And the moment you choose to walk through them, you are taking on a significant responsibility. These questions are designed to bypass a woman's logical defenses and speak directly to her heart. When you use them correctly, she will open up. She will reveal things she hasn't told her best friends. She will show you her raw vulnerability. But here is the fundamental truth. You cannot lead a woman into this territory if you aren't prepared to handle what you find there. If she genuinely opens up and you aren't steady, if you get awkward, or if you try to fix her, or if you just look for a way to use her vulnerability against her, you will cause genuine emotional harm. These aren't tricks for the weak. They are tools for the grounded masculine presence. You must be the steady foundation she can lean on when she reveals her hidden layers. If you are just playing a game, she will sense it and the connection will turn into resentment. You must be as solid as the charcoal stone pillars of the labyrinth. Women aren't drawn to men who simply want them. They are drawn to men who understand them, sometimes even better than they understand themselves. To reach this level, you must have masculine stillness. This means being comfortable with her emotions, her silence, and her depth. It means being the man who doesn't need her approval to feel secure. When you ask these questions, you are facilitate a genuine emotional echo. You are creating a bond that is based on truth rather than performance. This is the difference between a forgettable man and a magnetic man. Once your words start to echo in her heart long after the conversation is over, you have created a permanent psychological bond. You have moved past the surface and into the deep. Be ready for what happens when the secret self is revealed. Be the man who can handle the fire you have just started. When you operate with integrity and depth, these 6 questions will create a connection that is as healthy as it is intense. You are now the grounded presence who has conquered the labyrinth. Take care of that responsibility because it is the most valuable thing you will ever earn. We have covered a lot today, moving from the invisible man trap to the high-stakes territory of the psychological mirror. My goal isn't just to give you questions to get a date. It's to help you become the kind of man whose presence is unforgettable because it is rooted in psychological awareness and in masculine depth. You have successfully mapped the labyrinth brain. You have seen how generic men get trapped in the dead ends of boring conversation and how the exception path leads to the center where genuine intrigue and obsession are born. I want to hear from you now. This has been a deep dive, and I know one of these 6 questions probably hit differently for you. Maybe you realized you've been staying on the surface for too long, or maybe you realized you've been afraid of the silence that follows a deep question. Drop a comment below and tell me which section made you pause and reflect on your own approach. I read all of the comments and I want to know where you are tuning in from and what you are currently navigating in your dating life. If this resonated with you, if you are tired of the standard dating advice that doesn't actually work in the real world, then hit that subscribe button. I am consistently breaking down the dark and light sides of personality psychology and connection in ways that most people are too afraid to talk about. We are building a community of men who value depth over cheap tactics and real connection over manufactured control. Your support is what allows me to keep creating these masterclasses. Let's keep moving past the surface level together. Take these 6 keys, use them with masculine stillness, and remember that the most magnetic thing you can ever be is a man who is genuinely present while everyone else is just performing. You now have the map to the labyrinth brain. You have the tools to be the exception. Use them with intention. Use them with integrity and watch as your connections transform from safe to extraordinary. Take care of yourselves, stay grounded, and I will see you in the next breakdown. The subscribe archway is waiting. Let's move through it together.